Good evening, respectable guests, fellow Toastmasters. A very warm welcome to meeting number 63 of the Gabbys International Toastmasters Club. I am Toastmaster Renu Kaushal, your Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. As a Sergeant at Arms, it's my duty to highlight some key points for today's meeting. This meeting is blocked for 2 hours, and I urge you all to stay for the entire duration to get the maximum benefits thereon. You are requested to keep your video on, your audio off, and please unmute yourself, and you can talk or speak when you are called to speak or need to speak. Regarding the topics of sex, religion, and politics, even though Toastmasters International does not put any restrictions, but we at Gabby's Toastmasters Club request all speakers and role takers to be mindful and responsible and abstain from expressing any controversial views on these sensitive topics. A word about our club mission. At Gabby's, we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Let me now hand over the stage to the presiding officer. And before that, a brief introduction about our presiding officer, Toastmaster Jaspreet Kaur. Toastmaster Jaspreet is a posh and FOXO trainer. She helps in building inclusive workplace. She is a communication and workplace skill coach. She is also a CBSE English faculty, and during her term as a faculty, she's helped more than 2,000 students ace the board examination. Over to you, presiding officer Jaspreet.
A big round of applause for our Sergeant at Arms for today, Toastmaster Renu Kaushal, for maintaining the Gabby's decorum and starting the meeting right on time. Thanks a lot for laying down the ground rules, Renu, for everyone in the meeting room. Greetings of the day, Toastmasters and esteemed guests. We do have many guests in the room today, and I'm sure it's going to be a full house because of the special session today. With utmost pleasure, I welcome you all to the 63rd meeting of Gabby's International Toastmasters Club. With that, I officially call the meeting to order. Now, before we go ahead, we have some guests, and let's have a quick intro from them. Request you all to be there on camera. It is really very inspiring for the people who are here as speakers. So first of all, I would like to call Marty. Marty, a quick 30 seconds intro about yourself. You don't need an intro, but yes, there are some who would want to know about you. 30 seconds, Marty, please.
Okay, sure. Hi, everybody. I am Marty Sudgeest. I've been a Toastmaster here in Las Vegas, Nevada for the last 2 years. I'm in 2 clubs over here and found out about this event through Alan's LinkedIn post. So I was very intrigued by that. And it is 5:30 in the morning, actually, where I am. So that's why I'm drinking coffee. So thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you very much. Ellen, you have many fans around, so there will be more people coming up. Thank you so much, Marty, for that introduction and also for joining us at this hour of the day. Now we have somebody called as guest Vipul Sharda. Vipul, can you just give us a quick 30 seconds intro about yourself?
Hello, hi everyone. My name is Vipul Sharda, and I am joining this meeting second time as a guest. And currently, I am working as a software engineer. And my motivation to join a club like Toastmaster is to meet smart people, learn from them, and also improve my communication skills as well as my leadership skills.
Thank you so much, Vipul. I really like it when you say you want to meet smart people and you are here. We sure are smart people. Thank you very much for that. Well, I can see Neha Singh. Neha, a quick intro about yourself.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes,
I
yes.
tried fixing my Zoom.
Yes, it's
Yes,
perfect.
okay. So yeah, this is my first day today here. I just wanted to join and wanted to see how the this club runs. And my motivation to join here is I want to improve my communication skills and leadership qualities and all that. So yeah, just wanted to have a feel of this club and see how it goes.
Great, great. Thank you for joining in. And I think you've joined the right place. Leadership and communication, and much, much more is what you are going to get from us. So there are many more guests, and they'll be pouring in, and I'll come back to them once again after a bit. But right now, let's move ahead because there are a couple of things lined up for today. Now, for those joining us for the first time, I extend a warm welcome to a global movement that began in 1924. Yes, you heard that right, 1924, with the vision of Dr. Ralph C. Smedley, who believed that with the right support system, anyone could improve. And Toastmasters has been that support system for millions all across the world. Every Toastmasters meeting is a chance for all of us to step out of our comfort zone, experiment, stumble, and rise again until success is achieved. That is what makes this particular space of Toastmasters so very special for all of us. I encourage each one of you to engage wholeheartedly, learn from one another, and celebrate each and every milestone of progress that you witness over here today. Small little victories also are milestones achieved. Now, whether you are here for the first time or the way many of you are regular attendees, you're exactly where you need to be. Welcome to the Gabbys, a family of 3 clubs and a one-stop destination for anyone who is eager to experience the magic of self-improvement through public speaking and leadership. Now, Gabby's is the preferred choice for many Toastmasters who seek to reignite their passion and elevate their journey to new heights. Here, we don't just conduct meetings. We try to provide a transformative experience that empowers you to unlock your full potential and turn your aspirations into achievements, not just personally, but even professionally. Whether you are wanting to refine your public speaking, honing your leadership skills, or building the confidence to step outside your comfort zone, Gabby's is your launchpad for that required kind of growth. We are committed to delivering a world-class experience to every member and guest at each meeting. Now, before we proceed further, a very important announcement. This is the time for the International Speech Contest. The club level contest for the Gabbies is happening on 1st March 2025. Just one day left for you to register if you have not done so as yet. Please do it at the earliest. Time is ticking away. And once you do that, pick up the best story from your life, weave an impactful speech out of it. Well, this is an art, isn't it? A well-crafted story captivates the audience and adds authenticity to your speech. To understand this art of storytelling, we have a special guest over here today who is here to tell us all the nuances of this art. So I welcome distinguished Toastmaster Ellen Kikuchi White. Born in Glasgow, Scotland, Ellen has been a Toastmasters member since 2021. With a 25-year career in civil society campaigns and advocacy, he has spoken as a keynote, a panelist, moderator, and presenter at public, political, and academic events worldwide. He has also mentored and coached professionals and young minds at all levels of an international organization. Known for his brutally authentic public speaking style, Ellen brings a wealth of experience and passion to this session. Well, I have actually experienced it many a times. I would want all of you to do that today. So with this, over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Ellen White.
Thank you, Jaspreet. Just to clarify, I'm not a DTM. I may be a Toastmaster, but I'm not distinguished yet. I'm still learning and still on that journey.
All right.
I don't want to lay claim to false honours. Before I begin, having listened to the opening remarks, I just want to flag that in my presentation, I will not be making commentary about religion, but religion is an aspect in the context of the story. It's not a commentary on any religion, but just a part of my upbringing. So that's the only way that religion will be referenced. So, this evening, I get to share my passion for, dare I say, even love for storytelling. Storytelling in public speaking. And why do I make public speaking the emphasis there? Well, let me explain with a little story, strangely enough. Growing up, I was that person at the party, over the dinner table, in the pub with a pint, telling stories, making my friends laugh, making new friends, amusing people, and, to be frank, seeking and being the centre of attention. But that is not storytelling. That is being a raconteur. In Toastmasters, we're very often asked to describe our Toastmasters journey. And if I had to pick anything out of the last 3 years, it would be the transition from raconteur to storyteller and the journey in between. What's the differences and what are the similarities? Both want to engage an audience. Both want to inspire some emotional response. This side is mostly laughter. This side, public speaking. Laughter, yes, but much deeper and more broad range of emotions we want to inspire. This side, the primary purpose is social engagement. This side, its purpose with meaning. It's a message with meaning and illustrating that meaning through a story. Raconteur is one thing. It's basically an anecdote. Public speaking and storytelling is a different game altogether. Now, the good news is we are all full of stories. Stories from our personal lives, from our childhood, from our adulthood, from work, from school, from time with friends and family, anecdotes that you've heard from other people, things you've seen in your community, acts of kindness, acts of cruelty, all sorts of stories. The defining quality is perhaps underlying all of that is that anything that inspires an emotion, whatever that emotion is in you, is probably a story you can use. If it inspires emotion in you, you can use that story to inspire emotions in others. So we're all full of stories. The question becomes then, how do we harvest those stories? How do we understand, build on the application of those stories in public speaking? What do they mean? What do they imply? What are the lessons learned? If anything, if you take one thing from today, I would want you all to leave knowing that you are full of stories and you will be able to harvest them into your public speaking. Now, before we dive in, it wouldn't be Toastmasters if I didn't propose an impromptu speaking session, and I don't want to be the only voice in this presentation either. So, as we progress through the content, I would like everyone to be thinking about a story in their lives, a story with a message, critically with a message, that you would like to share that message with in a table topics 2-minute speech at the end of the presentation. Hopefully, we should have time for 2, perhaps 3 participants in that regard. And of course, it wouldn't be table topics if I didn't give you a prompt. So, my school days. There were teachers who inspired you. There were teachers who despised you. There were friends who lifted you up. There were bullies who crushed you. There were times when you were good, and there may have been times when you were naughty. Think about all of those things as we progress through. Maybe you've already started to remember an anecdote. What does that anecdote transfer into a story? How does that story deliver a message? And we'll return to this question at the end. So, why do we tell stories? Oral and social history. Mankind has been telling itself stories since the first people painted bison on the cave wall. When that person put their hand in the paint and put it on the wall of the cave. This is my story. This is me. I was here. Since the beginning of mankind, we've told each other stories. But that's the big social, broad, historical context. Why do we tell each other stories in Toastmasters, in public speaking? Stories elicit emotion. Emotion is the engagement of the audience in your story. Stories involve your audience in the speech, in the message, from the very beginning, when told with authenticity, compassion, emotion, empathy, particularly. And that's where I get the moniker of being brutally authentic from. It was a gift to me at a recent workshop I attended. But critically, and perhaps most importantly, the human brain is wired to remember stories. All those burning connections between the neurons in the head, that's what our memories are. And if we form them around a story, we remember that story. And if your audience remembers that story, and you've applied that story to the message, they will remember your message. Not 10 minutes, 15 minutes later, but weeks later, months later. They may even recall that story as a personal anecdote years later and remember your message. We tell stories because stories make the message stick in the minds of your audience. And that's what we want stories to do. The next question might be, when do we tell stories? Well, arguably, all the time. But in terms of public speaking, realistically, we tell stories when that story backs up the premise, the objective, and the key message of the speech, the message that you want the audience to take away. This is critical. What stories do we tell? Well, that depends entirely. It depends on the objective. And setting the objective for your speech will help you inform your decision on choosing the right story. But that's not enough. The story has to fit the audience. The story has to speak to the audience. Don't bring the wrong speech into the wrong room, or the right speech into the wrong room. Or is that even possible? I'm now questioning my own language. It all depends on your objective, what you want to achieve, the impact you want to have, the message you want to deliver, and most importantly, on the audience you want to adopt that message. So that's some thoughts on why, when, what stories we use. How do we think to construct stories? Today, I'm going to present the 5 C's. Character, context, conflict, climax, and closure. That's 5 C's. If you go online and search for storytelling models, frameworks, etc., you'll find the 5 C's. You'll find 4. You'll find the 3 C's. You'll even find some different C's and even also some 4 P's. So there are many ways you might want to look at constructing your story. I will focus on the 5 C's. So what is the first of those 5 C's? As I said already, characters. And the use of the post-it note will become clearer later in the speech, in the presentation. Characters. What is a story without characters? Well, there is no story without characters. Nobody speaks to anyone. Nobody does anything. We have no story without characters. So who are these characters? At the short end of the story, perhaps there are some bit players who stroll on, stroll off in the story, don't have a large part to play. The extras, to use a film term. Then there are the principal characters. There may be one principal character, there may be more. But the principal character is the person about whom the story is. They're the main character. They're the main character carrying the... They have the problem that needs resolving, the opportunity they need to grasp. And to help them do that, every story needs a hero. The hero who helps them in the transformation towards moving forward in life, whatever the key message is that informs our key message through the action, who changes the behavior of the principal. So let me say a few words about the hero. My friend and fellow Toastmaster Pietro Fiario from Geneva, we did a storytelling workshop a few weeks ago, and he used a phrase I'm going to adopt. Never be the hero of your own story. Stories like that have all the appeal of flat champagne. And why do we say that? Because a story that's just me, doesn't bring your audience in. If anything, it creates a barrier between you and the audience, and perhaps isolates the audience from the story when you want to bring the audience in. Previous world champion Toastmaster Darren Lacroix puts it in a different way, and he talks about the I to you ratio. What does he mean by that, and how would we understand that? A speech that is just, I did this, I did that, I did this, I did this, and that happened, is only about the me. What is in that for your audience to engage with? Whereas stories that tell your story perhaps, but from their perspective, or give them a perspective that buys them into the story, are much more compelling. And ultimately, if you want to deliver a message, much more convincing. So let me illustrate. I'll start with the I. It was the biggest day of my career. I had the biggest job interview ever. It was critical, and my alarm didn't go off. I was behind schedule from the start. I was stressed. I had to feed the cat, put the bins out. I had to iron that shirt, and I was angry at myself because I should have ironed it last night. But I got out of the house, I made it to the train, I got to the interview, and I nailed it. Can you imagine? Now, let's try that from a you perspective. Can you imagine? It's the morning of the greatest interview of your career, and your alarm doesn't go off. You're rushing from the start. You have to feed the cat. You have to put the bins out. You have to iron that shirt. And then you're thinking, I wish I'd ironed this last night. But you make it to the car. You make it to the station. You get on the train and you get to that interview and you nail it. That was me last year. Do you see the difference? This one begins I, me, and ends with a you. Can you imagine? This one begins, can you imagine, and is you, and ends by connecting you to the audience because they've been imagining themselves in that scenario. And goodness knows, many of us have been in that scenario for one reason or another. So that's the idea of not being the hero in your own story. Let me also just say why I love characterization in public speaking. Vocal variety. Give your characters a voice. What an opportunity not to just talk in your own voice all the time. To give your audience somebody else to hear from, as we will later in table topics. Let me illustrate with, I'll go back to my icebreaker in Toastmasters. I'm 7 years old, below the camera height, and two bigger boys, maybe 15 or 16 years old, come up to me in the street. What are you? I'm a boy. I was quite pretty and I had very long hair and I was often mistaken for a girl. So anyway, I'm a boy. Yeah, we know you're a boy. What are you? What do you mean? As far as we've gone in that conversation, what you've seen is vocal aggression, vocal vulnerability, a little bit of fear and anxiety and lack of knowledge. So not only have you given the audience some other voice to listen to, you've given yourself the opportunity to put emotions into your speech through the voices of others. And that creates the drama, which helps feed the next stage in the process. Or sorry, the third stage, the third C. So, characters. Principles, hero, don't be the hero. Use voices, and vocal variety is a gift for us all. That brings me to the second C, which is context. And what do we understand by context? Context is the moment you can paint the picture for the audience. You set the scene. You tell them about the sights, the sounds, the smells, the sensations. And they're imagining that. If you use highly descriptive language at that point, people are starting to paint a picture in their minds of the stage upon which your characters stand, where the action will take place. So, going back to that icebreaker speech. Oh, it was a hot summer's day in Glasgow. The sun was beating down. Busy main road, traffic whizzing by, buses, cars, trucks. And picture this, 7 years old, small, cute, t-shirt, cut-off denim shorts, long hippie hair, standing alone outside a shop waiting for his mum because he wants to go for lunch. Did that evoke visions in your mind? Did you see the cars? Did you hear the cars? Maybe you smelt the exhaust fumes. And then there's this little vulnerable figure standing alone. You've set the scene for the characters to stand upon, where the drama now plays out. And that drama plays out through the medium of the third C, conflict. What is a story without conflict, especially when you want to have a message? It's an anecdote. It's nothing. The characters need to interact. The hero needs to help the principal in some way or transform the principal in some way. And that transformation requires a conflict. The conflict doesn't necessarily have to be a problem. It could also be about embracing opportunity or just embracing change in some way. But the conflict must be there. Without a conflict, your story falls flat on its face. And with it goes your message. Because resolving the conflict is the credibility for your message. So, if I go back to that dialogue between me and the young men, what are you? I don't know. What are you? Catholic or Protestant? I don't know. The city in which I was brought up is riven by sectarian division to this day, always has been. And it's very important in some people's minds which religion you are. But I wasn't anything. I didn't have and I didn't understand the question. I was 7. I wasn't anything in particular, but this dichotomous question was being given to me in a very aggressive way. And all I could say was, I don't know. The conflict here, for me, is about differing worldviews. 2 young men who think in those dichotomous terms, and a little boy who doesn't know what they're talking about or has little idea. The conversation continues. Oh, what school do you go to? That one. What does that make you? I don't know. What football team do you support? I don't know. And I'm left with don't knows, don't know. Because all those things matter in terms of this identification within this dichotomous framework, the school you go to, the football team you support. But I had no answer for them. I had no way of resolving the conflict. And that leads us to the next C, which is climax. The climax of the story is the resolution of the story. In some way, the hero intervenes and helps that little boy deal with this situation. So who was my hero that day? What are you? I don't know. Maybe you could wait for my mum to come out of the shop and she can tell you what I am. And the boys threw their hands in the air and just went, oh, wasting our time here, and marched away. My mother is the hero in that story. But interestingly, she plays no active part in it. I merely invoke her potential arrival, and that's enough to end this conflict. The aha moment. Their aha was that they were wasting their time with this argument. My aha was that my mum's the hero, and now we're going for lunch, which is great. So, my mother had no active part in this. She didn't have a line. She didn't even appear particularly, just as I say, and I invoked her. And the climax sets us up for the big finale, the closure. And what do we mean by closure? Well, we have lots of ways of describing this or using this part of the speech. We might call it the key message. We might call it the lesson learned. We might call it the conclusion, the call to action. We might also just call it that other C that I just mentioned, conclusion. It's the lesson learned for me in the speech example I've given so far. It was perhaps in that moment, although I didn't see it at the time, that I realized that pouring darkness and hatred into the differences between human beings was a terrible thing to do. And that rather than pouring darkness into those cracks of difference between human beings, I prefer to shine a light and to celebrate that diversity and those differences. And that, perhaps that day, was the first step on the way to becoming the man I am. That was my closure from that speech. So, we've covered the 5 C's. Those were character, context, conflict, climax, and closure. Let me tie them all together in one story that's not about me. As I tell this story, try and spot the character. Who are the characters? What is the context? What is the conflict? Where's the aha moment? And what lesson was learnt from this? The year is 390 BC. We're in ancient Greece. We're on a hillside in the middle of summer. The sun is beating down, overlooking the sea. The sun is roasting the wild rosemary on the hillsides. The air is filled with the scent. The stones are radiating the heat back off the ground. And along comes Socrates on a dusty path, contemplating as only Socrates could contemplate. Behind him, a young man runs, kicking up the dust as he goes. Socrates! Great, noble Socrates! Please, stop! Socrates continues to walk. Socrates! Socrates! Torn from his great thoughts, Socrates stops, and the young man catches him up and says, "Yes, young man, what do you want?" Socrates, great Socrates, I want the gift of wisdom. The gift of wisdom, is it? Yes, great Socrates. Very well. Meet me on the beach tomorrow morning at dawn. And the young man says, absolutely, thank you, great noble Socrates. The next morning at dawn, the cool breeze, the sun rising, the cool breeze off the sea. The pair meet up, and Socrates says, remind me again, young man, what is it you desire? I want the gift of wisdom, Socrates, oh great Socrates. The gift of wisdom. Very well, follow me. And they walk together into the sea. Knee height, hip height, chest height, shoulder height. All the way the young man thinking, where is he taking me? Socrates says to him, what do you desire? The gift of wisdom, noble Socrates. And Socrates takes him by the head and shoves him under the water and holds him down for 10, 20, struggling underwater, 30 seconds, and releases him and says, tell me again what you desire. And the young man says, the gift of wisdom, noble Socrates. And Socrates plunges his head back under the water, this time for 10, 20, 30, 40 seconds, all the time struggling, and he releases him. Tell me once again, young man, what do you desire? The gift of wisdom, noble Socrates. Down he goes again, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 seconds, and Socrates releases him, and the young man jumps to the surface, gasps in air. And then what Socrates says to, what do you desire now, son? To breathe. And Socrates says, now, young man, only now, when you wish and desire wisdom with the same passion with which you desired to breathe, will you be ready to begin the journey to find wisdom for yourself? And the young man looked Socrates in the eye and realized his foolishness and set out to acquire wisdom through hard work, commitment, and study. Scene. In there, I hope you saw the characters. I think they were fairly clear. The context, I hope I made abundantly clear. Did you feel the sun? Did you smell the rosemary, see the dust, etc.? The conflict in this is clearly the conflict in the young man's mind between what he thinks is going to be a gift and rather than a journey he has to overcome or to take. And Socrates, as the hero of the story, helps him in that transformation. And of course, the closure is essentially a call to action to work for wisdom, not to expect it as a gift. So I hope you saw the 5 C's at work in that one total speech rather than the excerpts I gave you earlier. I want now just to very briefly give you practical tips on how I approach the whole question of storytelling. I said I would explain the use of post-it notes earlier. These are my friends, my main tools. Everywhere I go, post-it notes and pens. How many times have you had a lovely bit of inspiration, an idea, and then 10 minutes later, you haven't noted it down and you're going, what was that thing I was thinking about again? Happens to me a lot. That's why I have these. Quickly note anything down, an anecdote that comes to mind, something you see on the street, an act of kindness or otherwise, whatever. Get a headline down. And then, as you can see, I'm largely paper-based. These are all my headlines. Every single line there, each line, each column, is the headline for a story. And I can look at this and go, yep, I know what that story is. But that's also not enough. Headlines are not stories for speeches. You then have to expand those stories into broader short stories. But that's not enough either, because then you have to think about what was the lesson in this story? What was the issue at stake? Was there empowerment, bullying, greed, generosity? What are the issues that you want? Because this is not about writing a speech and thinking of a story. This is about having a set of, an arsenal, an archive of stories that when you sit down to write a speech, you say, I want to deal with issues X, Y, and Z. Ah, in my archive, I have that story that does X, Y, and Z. Or I have this story that does X and Y, and I can use this story to illustrate Z. You have the ammunition for your speeches rather than trying to write a speech and think of a story. It's a much more straightforward way of working in my regard. So we've covered the why, what, when. We've covered the structure of the 5 C's, and I've tried to give you some practical tips, at least to how I do this. That's enough download from me. At the beginning, I said, you're all full of stories. And we would open the floor to table topics volunteers on the theme of my school days. But critically, of course, a table topics presentation that carries a message you want to share with the audience. So, might we have any volunteers? I can't see the... I'm not seeing any volunteers.
Yes, we have one hand raised, Ellen.
Oh, I don't see. Ah, Zara, hello, hello. So we have the timer, and
It's about a school, but not the school days. Is it okay?
any story is okay as long as you can bring us a message.
Okay.
So, yep, Zara Moharer, sorry, the floor is yours, and the timer is on screen.
Where is the timer? Oh, she's here. Okay. Sitting on the campus bus station, the air was full of sadness. It was sunset. I lost in my thought. The humidity of tropical air spread through the air. I felt a tap on my shoulder. There was a lady next to me. Are you okay? My initial silence spoke volumes. She'd continued with a smile, genuine smile. If you want to speak with someone, I'm here if it works. If it works, I was waiting for that moment many years. That could have made a huge difference. Her name was Shanta, an Indian girl. Full of passion. Help everyone, reach out to them, and try to solve their problems. Very kind and helpful. Every morning, she said, "Good morning, everyone." I can't understand her at all. Why she's so passionate, so cheerful when she's wheelchair bound. Shanta's passion touched my heart. I felt a very warm feeling within me. That was the sense of purpose. It was a revolution. My aha moment, it means I can make a change if I am kind and helpful to others and try my best. True. As far as you have a heart here, you can be compassionate and helpful. Back to you.
Absolutely loved it, Zara. You acted your characters brilliantly. That little bit of suspense when you gave us the wheelchair bound, that was fantastic. And again, as I'm talking about, that's the kind of way of working that engages the audience. And that's the moment that will make that story memorable for all of us, I feel. Certainly for myself, when you broke that news. Yeah, and a lovely lesson learned at the end. We saw characters. You gave us beautiful context. You gave us the aha moment, which is the wheelchair moment. So yeah, and a lovely conclusion. So the 5 C's at work. Bravo.
Thank you.
The next volunteer I see is Samita Kar.
Yes.
Samita, please. My school days.
Bright, sunny morning. The first thought that we friends had, we need a games period today. So started the nudging. Shall we ask for a games period? Will the teacher give us? My best friend, Anita, said, let's do one thing. The science period. You know what? We will tell the teacher that we need to go out, breathe the fresh air, and then we will become better in memorizing, in learning. We have to go out and open. Will it work? I don't know. Let's try. All of us have tried something or the other, isn't it? During school days, to go out, not be in the class. We were all those 15-year-old devious minds. And then we went to the class. Ma'am, we want a games period today. Then guess what? The teacher smiled and said, I have a surprise test for y'all today. Oh my God. We were so crestfallen. Ma'am, we tried to tell her. And she said, no, you have to sit for the surprise test. We stood there, looking at one another, nudging one another. We knew our exams were coming near. We knew in our heart that we had to appear for this test. But we were not ready. And then, with the pen in hand, with a crestfallen face, we started writing. Once we started writing, we got engrossed. And I learned an important lesson. It's not always playtime. Our heart sometimes loves to go out and play. But the reality is, we have to work hard for that playtime to come. Over to you.
Thank you, Samita. Sorry, I was having trouble unmuting myself there. Again, wonderful characterization and a great story with a very clear lesson at the end. I compliment you particularly for having the courage to tell us about when you were naughty. Not everyone does that. I behaved badly is not something people will necessarily talk about or include in their speeches, but it's an important piece of self-reflection as well. And for me, that comes back to that question of brutal authenticity. You know, you're being authentic when you expose things not expose, but reveal things that you've not done right, or when you were vulnerable, etc., etc. And that's part of that kind of spirit of brutal authenticity that I've been granted, if you like. Thank you very much, Samita. We have time just enough for one more, I think. Rahul. Hello,
Yes.
Rahul.
Hello.
Hey. Well, the floor is yours. My school days, Rahul.
Think about this. A young kid having everything in his world. Favorite ice creams. All the games he can play in the world. But then the alarm clock rings and I get up. Ask yourself this. How many of you here have faced this wonderful nightmare? You wake up and face the reality. I go to school. I was pushed to school by my parents. I didn't want to go to school. But when I was there, all I could think about was my wonderful, beautiful dream, where I was the hero and not a side character in my real life. Then this happened on a one good sunny day. I was looking at the time and it was almost over. The school got over. I was bored. I didn't have much fun stories to tell or an action to carry on. But there was this beautiful character. Let's call her Roxy. She was my love of my life. She was waiting for me at the gates. She was so happy to see me, and I couldn't wait to go and. Who am I kidding? Roxy was my favorite dog. She was the love of my life. When I went to see her, she showed me all the love. It felt like I was living the dream. The school days might have been a little cruel towards me, but my school days with Roxy was the most fun. Thank you.
Bravo, Rahul. I think I can share your lack of enthusiasm for going to school definitely. And that probably resonates with a lot of people. You know, not many people might admit it, especially not in public like this. I loved the comic reveal. Roxy, my dog. Because, of course, none of us were imagining that Roxy was a, well, I don't know if none of us were, but I certainly wasn't imagining that Roxy would be a dog. So again, you've got to the use of humor, which in a very gentle way as well, which of course, the use of humor can be a bit too much for some people. It's a matter of personal taste and very subjective. I prefer, personally, I'm not offended by any humor, but yeah, gentle humor, certainly in our public speaking in Toastmasters, is probably the more preferred approach, rather than brutal. Well, brutal authenticity is one thing, brutal humor would be something else. But yeah, painted a picture. We had your parents and everything else. So thank you very much to our 3 wonderful volunteers. The floor is open for a question and answer session for maybe 5 minutes. Happy to have an open discussion.
I have a question.
Yes, Rahul.
So when you craft a story,
Yeah.
even though the preferred method, sometimes our own stories lack a certain bit of, let's say, that punch.
Yeah.
How do we create that in an authentic way? We can create it in a fake, or let's say it's in a very, it's not a fake way. We can put in different characters, but how do you reveal it in an authentic way and have a punch to the story?
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of putting the punch at the opening. How you open the story, get people's attention. I think for me, it has to be a dramatic question to the audience in some way, or a dramatic statement. So I'll illustrate. I'm starting a civil society organization of my own. I'll tell you why afterwards, but the fundraising speech for that begins. My mother died of surprise. My mother, Margot Elizabeth White, died surprised. Now, if I stop there, who's curious to know what happened? Is anyone not curious to know what happened? The simple answer is my mother got her diagnosis of ovarian cancer at 10 in the morning and was dead by 2 in the afternoon. And she'd been ill for 8 months and they'd not been able to diagnose her properly. So I'm starting an organization that will focus on early detection. So that's obviously a very hard punch to begin with. But I think also, just to make that connection, I go back to the point I made earlier about putting the story, imagining the audience imagining themselves in that situation. Because again, you don't need such a hard punch if you've already engaged their empathy because they understand the situation, because they've now seen themselves in that situation. So that doesn't require, for me, that wouldn't require such a hard punch at the end. I think the other thing to do, definitely, if you're thinking about using a story in a speech, is to get feedback from others. I know we say this all the time in Toastmasters, but you have to test your stories out with other people, maybe not even in the context of a speech, and find out where they think the strength is and where you could enhance that strength, or maybe take things that distract from that strength out. As we saw in Zara's speech, you know, she dropped that punch in about the wheelchair. You dropped the punch in about the dog for humor. She did it for effect. So it's thinking about those moments where you can create the drama by fooling your audience, leading them in one direction and then going in another direction. I mean, it's kind of classic stand-up comedy as well. Lead your audience down one path and then drop them off the cliff, if you like, for want of a better metaphor. I hope that answers your question to some degree. But yeah, test your stories out with other people and get feedback.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, Zara, you can go ahead, please.
Hey, Zara.
Thank you very much. Hi. I'm sorry I was late. Good evening, everyone. So you use two terms, a principal and hero, as characters.
Yeah.
Previously, I heard about antagonist and protagonist. Now I am a bit confused about them. Which one is which?
I would suggest in some ways that given that the hero is inspiring the transformation, he's the antagonist to me. It doesn't mean an antagonist doesn't have to be an evil character. It's just somebody that stirs the pot, if you like. I don't necessarily see protagonist and antagonist as a dichotomy between good and evil. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of ways of describing different types of character. I think for a simple story, like we would generally want to use, for me, this question of principal and hero is probably enough. One is, I think the person who forces a change is an antagonist, and that change can be good or bad, in my mind. But maybe someone has better understanding of storytelling theory in that regard than I do. But yeah, I think they're largely interchangeable. I wouldn't get too caught up in the semantics of it, because at the end of the day, it's the relationship between the two that matters. It's how they resolve that conflict and that who's transformed. And the transformation is arguably therefore protagonistic. But I guess we could debate that for a long time.
Mhm. Thank you very much. It was great.
We have time for maybe one more question, Jaspreet.
Yes, we do have time. So anyone who has any doubt, any query, Lakshmi, did you raise your hand?
Yeah, you can go ahead with one more question.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So yes, this is the time when you can have your queries resolved. Anyone? Yes, Samita. Toastmaster Samita.
Hello, Alan. I just wanted to know, like, when we are giving a conclusion, should we put in some point earlier while we are speaking about the story? Some key point or should we keep everything for the end? Some key takeaway messages?
I'm going to answer very unequivocally or unclearly by saying it depends. It depends. For me, I think it depends whether you feel the need to seed as they say, salt the audience with ideas on the way to the big finish or not. You know, as you did, as Zara did the reveal, there wasn't a hint on the way to the big point that this young lady was in a wheelchair. So she didn't talk about disability, avoided it. And it would have spoilt the story if we'd known that in advance. So again, it depends on the message and the object. You know, all of these things the story has to be crafted around, as I said, it's subjective, the impact you want it to have, and the audience's point of view. I think some advice that Darren gives us very much in this Stage Time University, which Marty and I are both part of, is actually going into, you know, there's nothing wrong with interviewing your audience if possible in advance. That's maybe not so prevalent within Toastmasters, but if you were outside doing public speaking, you'd want to interview the client first and get an idea of what their perspective and what stories might appeal to them. And then again, you're not then hunting for a story, because hopefully you've developed your story archive. And when they flag particular issues, you know you've got something in your box that's ready to be put into that story. How you then seed it as you go along. Yeah. I mean, I think if you'd heard that icebreaker speech in its entirety rather than in bits and pieces, I think it's pretty clear where it's going all the way, because it's about sectarianism, hatred, social hatred based on identity. And that theme is pretty clear all the way. And if you're going, frankly, if you're going to come to a positive closure or conclusion about that speech, the only way is to comment back on that that social injustice or whatever. So I don't think when I got to the end of that speech in its entirety, anyone would have been at all surprised where it ended up. It would have been more surprising if I'd said something controversial rather than something that was about social justice, and equality and dignity and respect for human difference and all those important things that matter to me. It's also a very good icebreaker speech in that sense because it reveals something quite fundamental about my own personal belief system. But yeah, again, the direct answer to your question is it depends on how you want to seed the audience on the way to the message or not, and have a big reveal at the end. Yeah, I'll share a structure with you after if I can find it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, everyone. I hope it was helpful. I look at the people who volunteered, and I'm not sure you needed any help with character, context, climax, closure, but I hope it was helpful nonetheless. And thank you for the opportunity to meet you all. I leave you with that final message. You are all full of stories, and you can harvest them and use them in your speeches. Thank you very much.
Big round of applause for our educational speaker for giving this wonderful session to us. Thank you so much, Ellen. And yes, it was great. And I am already craving for more. And I would want to request you that next time do visit us and then give us a speech, a story of yours. I want them to experience that as well. So I'll get back to you very soon for that as well. I really want
I will look forward to that.
I loved listening to your speech last week, and I would want them also to experience that. So, once again, thank you very much for accepting my invitation. Belated happy birthday to you once again, and looking forward to another session from you soon. Thank you really very much on behalf of entire Gabby's family.
Thank you very much, Jaspreet. Salut, everyone.
Thank you so much. I would request all the guests to please stay with us till the end of the meeting because yes, we've got some very wonderful speeches, stories lined up after this. But before that, let's take a quick 5 minutes break. It's 8:07 right now, and we will be back by 8:12, sharp 8:12. So let's be here in the next 5 minutes, everybody. Now, I would want to call upon the person who's going to host and orchestrate the second part of the meeting for us. So I'd like to invite the Toastmaster of the day. And today this role is being played by Toastmaster Rahul. We've already heard him in the previous section. So Rahul is currently exploring different forms of life like running, swimming, and reading. At the same time, Rahul is waiting eagerly for the next season of Rick and Morty to be on air. May your wish be fulfilled soon, Rahul. May the grandfather and grandson duo be back on Netflix with the 8th season. With this, over to you. Take the meeting forward from here.
Thank you for the wonderful intro, Presiding Officer Jaspreet. I'm a little surprised that even you watch Rick and Morty. So, we had a wonderful educational session today, but fear not. The meeting for the second half is going to be even more fun and a lot of learning for us. We move on to the next session, which is called the prepared speeches. We have 3 speeches today. For our first speaker, it would be Toastmaster Pushpak. Can we please spotlight Toastmaster Pushpak? Okay. So let me tell you what a prepared speech is going to be about. It's when a speaker delivers a speech, which is usually 5 to 7 minutes, of his own story or his own interesting finds that he has. And for the first speaker, that'll be Toastmaster Pushpak, and his evaluator would be Toastmaster Manoj. Can I please have a confirmation that Toastmaster Manoj is here? Okay, I see that. Thank you. So let me tell you a quick intro about Toastmaster Pushpak. Toastmaster Pushpak is a chartered accountant with over 6 years of experience in accounting, auditing, taxation, and financial reporting. He is currently the assistant manager in finance controllership at Levi's. But apart from that, Toastmaster Pushpak is also a person who has a plethora of stories to tell. And I'm very eager to see what he has in store for today. Toastmasters Pushpak speech would be 5 to 7 minutes. Timer, please note the timer will be 5 to 7 minutes. And he will be giving for level 1, project number 2. Path will be visionary communication. The project name is writing a speech with purpose. And the project objective is the purpose of this project is to learn or review basic methods for writing a speech with a defined purpose and to present a well-organized speech on any topic. The speech title would be My 5 Pillars of Triumph. My 5 Pillars of Triumph, Toastmaster Pushpak. My 5 Pillars of Triumph.
Thank you, Toastmaster and guests. When I was in class 10th, I was struggling to pass my exam. I was leveled a very below average student. Still, I passed one of the toughest exam in India, that is CA final exam. The same student who once struggled during school days still cleared one of the most difficult professional exam. How? Well, I used 5 pillars as a path of my success during my CA journey. My first pillar start with why. Why? Yes, why? When I joined the CA course, I knew exactly why I wanted to become a chartered accountant. My family was very poor. We lived in a small grass hut and did not even have a bathroom. I had very clear goal to become a CA so I could build a proper house for my family and give them a better life. This dream kept me motivated every single day, pushing me to give more than 100% in my studies. Well, the second pillar of my success was discipline. I always know that motivation is for short term and discipline is for long term success. And to keep myself disciplined, consistency is required. My daily routine was every morning at 4 o'clock when my alarm rang. That time, my mind say, you are not a robot. Sleep some time extra. But at the same time, I think that I want to see my parents in a proper house. I want to uplift my family, and that is possible only if I become a CA. And I can become a CA if I will be consistent in my study. After a month of sticking to my daily routine, my mind finally gave up and said, fine, you are a robot, do whatever you want. Well, now coming to my third pillar of my success. My third pillar was hard work. We always know that hard work is key to the success. But in a modern age, now new things has come up that smart work is required, not hard work. But my point is a bit different from that. I always believe that first you need to start with your hard work. You understand the process, then you can be smart enough to utilize the process in a better way. I always, in my initial day of my CA journey, I used to watch a lot of rank holder video. They say that 7 hour, 8 hour is enough for clearing even get a rank in CA final exam. That sometimes it confused me whether 8 hours is enough. Then I checked my strength. What is my strength? What is my weakness? And how much I can utilize. So somehow I find out that at least I can 12 to 13 hours, I can use it properly. And obviously it will increase my chance of success. If I study 8 hours and if I study 13 hours, definitely it is going to increase my percentage of success in a high way. So my like 3 year of my routine was like I awake at 4 o'clock, get ready at 4:15 for study till 8:30, and then get ready for office. Reach office by 10:30 and complete my all office work. And at 10:45, 5:45, I go to coaching, come back at home at 9 o'clock, study for 1 hour, and sleep at 10 o'clock. Again, I awake at 4 o'clock. So it was my daily routine. Now, coming to my fourth pillar. Fourth pillar of my success was my confidence. I always believe that if I give my 100%, nobody in the world can stop me to achieve my success. Sometimes people used to talk that this time there is expectation that CA result will come like only 4%, 5%. That sometimes distract me, but I was so strong, so confident that even 1% result will come, my name will be there in that 1%. And one of my friend was there, he was my roommate. And whenever I talk with him how your preparation is going on, he always tell that, see, preparation is good, but I'm not confident enough to pass in this attempt. I will give another attempt. Means he's preparing for the exam which will come after 9 months. Means what if you are not confident enough? How how institute will be confident to pass you? And we saw that he not succeeded. So I always believe that if I give my 100%, nobody can stop me. Now my fifth pillar was fear of failure. Yes, fear of failure. How? I mean, always people see that fear of failure can be lead to be a failure. But for my point of view, I always think that even if I sometimes if I'm not able to utilize my time perfectly, I always think that if I will not give my 100%, it can lead to be a failure. So always I have a fear of failure in my mind that if I'm not utilizing my 100%, I can get failed. So that was my 5 pillar of success during my CA journey. It can change person to person. Everyone need to frame according to their goal. That's all from my side. Thank you, Toastmaster.
Would we all please have a round of applause for Toastmaster Pushpak? Wow, Toastmaster Pushpak, you are a man of determination, aim, and goal, almost like James Bond. And I enjoyed listening to your story.
Thank you.
So let's go on to our next second speaker. That would be Toastmaster Yogita. Toastmaster Yogita. Yes. Could I please confirm that I evaluated Toastmaster Samita is here? Yeah, I can see her. Okay. So let me introduce Toastmaster Yogita. Toastmaster Yogita is a go with the flow and a joyful person. She's always been a people person, so enjoying her face as an HR and image and soft skills trainer. And also beyond the 9 to 5 hustle, you will find her dancing, reading mind bending books, exploring new places, or experimenting with new foods. Wow, that's very interesting. Now, Timo, please note this speech is 5 to 7 minutes, and the path which Toastmaster Yogita is on is motivational strategies, and she's attempting level 2, project number 3. The project name is Introduction to Toastmasters Mentoring. And the objective of this project is for the member to clearly define how Toastmasters envisions mentoring. The purpose of the speech is for the member to share some aspect of a previous experience as a protege. The speech title is Stacking the Logs. Toastmaster Yogita, stacking the logs, Toastmaster Yogita.
Let me tell you a story. On a cold winter night, there were two farmers who were sitting in their homes shivering. Both had logs of wood, both had matches, but only one of them ended up being warm. The first farmer, experienced and patient, arranged his logs carefully, placing them just right to allow air to pass through. When he struck a match, the fire caught instantly, slowly growing into a warm, steady blaze. He sat back, comfortable, enjoying the heat. The second farmer, desperate to get warm quickly, tossed all his logs in a heap and struck a match. The flame flickered, danced for a moment, and died. He tried again and again, but the fire refused. Frustrated and freezing, he looked at the first farmer's glowing fire, wondering what he had done wrong and what he has done right. Now, before we move ahead, let me ask you all, when you first stepped in Toastmasters, which farmer were you? Because I am definitely the second one. I had the spark, the willingness to improve, but without guidance, that spark flickered until someone stepped in and helped me turn it into a flame. Almost a year ago, I joined my first speechcraft session. I was excited, it was online, but I was very terrified. The fear was real. The moment the host said, "Come on, let's hear from the new participants, let's have an introduction," my heart pounded like festival drums in a grand parade. I wanted to unmute. I really did. But what if I fumbled? What if I froze? That's when TTM Nagesh Ramamurthy stepped in, and with the patience of a seasoned mentor, he nudged me. He didn't just give me a feedback. He made me believe that I could do this and I should do this. Under his guidance, I learned how to craft my thoughts, structure my speech, and speak with the confidence. The hesitant speaker who once feared the stage was slowly finding my ground. A good fire needs more than just one log, isn't it? It needs constant fuel to keep burning. And that's where Toastmaster Lakshmi comes in. She is my current mentor. She's always there to guide me, to refine my ideas, to ensure I don't settle for less. And the best part is, her feedback is not about a speech. Her feedback is about the process. She helps me see beyond my comfort zone, explore more ideas, more areas of improvement. With her around in my journey with Toastmasters, I'm never alone. Looking back, I realized something. Every time I doubted myself, a mentor stepped in. Every time I hesitated, someone handed me a log to keep my fire burning. DTM Nagesh gave me the confidence to start, and Toastmaster Lakshmi ensures that I keep growing. And today, as I stand here, I see the cycle continuing. Because mentorship, my dear, is never about giving instructions. It's about lighting a fire in someone else so that they can also glow and grow like you are. So if you are new to Toastmasters, find a mentor. someone who will guide you, support you, and help your fire to grow. And if you have been here for a while, become one. Because the best way to keep your fire alive is to pass the torch forward. After all, a single torch cannot light 1,000 flames. What do you think? Thank you.
Could we all please have a round of applause for Toastmaster Yogita? That was so relatable for me. Me finding my way towards our mentor. I'm sure this is something which all of us could relate. Our love towards a mentor and how much they've improved our speech levels. Now, let me go to my third speaker. That would be Toastmaster Venkatesh. Do I see Toastmaster Venkatesh? Yes, I see. And I also see your evaluated Toastmaster Jaspreet. Okay. So let me introduce Toastmaster Venkatesh. Toastmaster Venkatesh is an experienced HR professional with 12 plus years of experience in generalist HR function, passionate, results driven, detail oriented, and highly motivated with proven ability to align best practices with business strategy and drive exceptional excellence in corporate environments. Timer, please note the speech is about 5 to 7 minutes, and the path is for presentation mastery, and it's a level 3 project number 2. The project name is using descriptive language, and the objective of the project is for the member to practice writing a speech with an emphasis on adding language to increase interest and impact. And the speech title is Emotional Intelligence. Toastmaster Venkatesh, Emotional Intelligence, Emotional Intelligence, Toastmaster Venkatesh.
Yeah, before timer starts, let me check my audio and visual aids. Am I good?
Good.
Yeah, thank you. So timer starts. Okay, good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. And today my topic is on emotional intelligence. Before moving to the topic, okay, let me have a small research from your end. Okay, so right now you need to go back to your school days, and you do have friends from 10th standard or 12th standard, right? So do recollect, and sure, I'm damn sure you would not have connected with everyone, but sure you would have have connections with few of them. In that group, okay, take people who are first rank holders and last rank holders. Okay, take friends, okay, categorize them. You know who are the first rankers and last rankers, right? Very few will be there and you will be in connect with them. Now give me an answer, a real, okay, true to your heart. Who is living very happy? Who is living very happy, and who's going with a static flow of happiness and wealth in their life? Is it the first rank holders or last rank holders? I need response in voice. Please go ahead. So how many of them do agree it is first rank holders? Could you please raise your hands? Okay, I need to change the gallery view. Okay. Okay, one Priya Singh ma'am. Okay.
I personally recall friends from my school days,
Okay.
and I feel it's neither the very poor performers or the top performers, but the ones in between who learn to, kind of with their own way, learn to manage both. They had their share of fun and they studied as well. And they were not the top class ones, but they still did well. I mean, they sailed through.
Yeah,
So
that's really great, ma'am. I'm one among them. Okay, now I'm coming up with a statement. The last rank holders are living happy than the first rank holders. How many of them do disagree on the statement? How many of them do disagree on the statement? Anyone? Okay. let me give you the science behind it. See, emotional intelligence, the definition goes like this: understand your own emotion, understand the other's emotion, and how you are able to calculate the mind readers, or you'll be a mind reader and you will know what people are thinking. Based on that, you will travel along with them and you will be leading the success path along with them. Very simple, simple, very simple. Okay, emotionally is something like what is your state emotionally, what is the other person's state, and adjusting to that, how you control and making them in a right way. That is called emotional intelligence. Here in emotional intelligence, there are four pillars. Simple. One is self emotional appraisal, which means that who you are, what is your emotion, what is your self appraisal. If I talk about this, okay, I'll need to be a Sadguru where after 1 hour you will ask me, Guruji, please give some life support elements or life support talk where I can lead a great life. I don't know to go with that. So, self emotion is something that you understand yourself. What is your anger point? What is your happiness? Where you want to control? So, the point is that if you're able to know who you are, you can control your overthinking. You can control your self talk. If you have a self talk in negative, you can make it positive. This is where, the self emotion appraisal comes in. The next is other emotion appraisal. What do you mean by that? Understanding your colleague's emotion. Okay, what is his positives? What is his negatives? What is his anger point? So that you can easily have a good relationship with that person. A person who is highly cognitive and highly stable in their own emotion, they can easily understand the others. The relationship, okay, is best between each other is only when you try to understand what is your standpoint and what is the other's one. And third and fourth pillars are nothing but regulation and control. Now, I'll give you a best example for a person who is having a good emotional intelligence. Three of you, okay? Assume that you three are friends: A, B, and C. You are in the B category. What happens here is that you want to stop the fight between A and C. You want to go for a compromise. You talk to A for half an hour, talk to C for half an hour, but they are not agreeing to your points. Suddenly the D person comes in. Hey, why you have wasted time for 30 minutes? I will go and settle this problem. He'll go talk to 2 minutes to A, talk to 2 minutes to C. They will get compromised, and all together you're having a good day. How it is possible? Sure, you would have gone through this because the D person knows how to speak. He knows what is emotions of A and C. He knows the weak point. He knows the positive point. Easily, he made the compromise. In relationship, husband and wife, they are able to have a good relationship because emotionally they are binded to each other. They know their standpoint, they know what is positive, negative, and where they need to stand. And if they want to go for compromise, they will go in a way where it can be easily settled. I will give you my example in my life. One of my friend was very poor in studies. Five of us, whereas for example you take the fifth one, remaining four family members will not accept him. But that guy is the one who's a change maker. Whenever he comes to my gang, okay, wherever we feel that we are depressed, within minutes, he will change it. He knows how to change the scenario because he is emotionally stable and live on each and every scenario. You know what? Among the five, he is the one who is living in best. He is the one who is living in the best, where he got settled in a very great package. Among the five, he is the one who is in the topmost and leading a perfect life. How it is possible? He is emotionally stable. He is able to connect with his members and audience. So, guys, be good in emotional intelligence. Try to enhance and be good in life. Over to Toastmaster.
Thank you. Could we all have a good round of applause for Toastmaster Venkatesh? I thoroughly enjoyed your speech, and it did resonate with me when you talked about the last bench people. Now, before we move on to the next session, that would be the evaluation, I would like to request our guests and fellow Toastmasters to please come on camera so we could get to see all your lovely faces, and you could also get to experience the real feeling of what a Toastmasters meeting is like. So I do urge most of you all to come on camera. Thank you. I do see a lot of people coming on camera now. Our next session would be the evaluation session for the prepared speeches that we heard right now. So the first evaluator would be Toastmaster Manoj. Second. Yep. And Toastmaster Manoj would be evaluating Toastmaster Pushpak. And 1 second. So Toastmaster Manoj is an IT consultant by profession and he's been with Toastmasters for the last couple of years. And during his free times, he likes to watch Malayalam movies, loves to walk in the woods, and play table tennis. Timer, please do note that the evaluation is 2 to 3 minutes. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster Manoj.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and my speaker, Pushpak Mishra. What a great story, Pushpak. You have just connected with us with your personal story. And one of the biggest things of any speech is bringing the power of storytelling. And it was very relatable. The way you signposted your speech with those 5 acronyms, I would say you have used determinations, failures, work hard, smart work. I think it really resonated with me because the kind of compelling story is that we can all relate to it. And one of the biggest thing is that with those biggest words, adjectives you use, you brought them to life with your real examples. And I can say you have a defining moment of resilience, the kind of toughness you have during those CA period. We all gone through that actually, and those kind of vivid imaginary, you painted the picture of those green leafy house, small house where you struggled and you wanted your parents to be. So it was kind of fulfilling and motivational kind of a story for me. So I would say it's kind of a bunch of small nuggets of small stories hidden and embedded in those acronyms. You use that one. Now, how can Pushpak change or tweak his story and take it to a different level? One of the storytelling is that if you leave the story, what was the kind of message I got it? How can I know about Pushpak? I would say those keywords of 5 principles you mentioned, determination, hard work, why don't you make it as acronyms, people to remember those kind of things? I would say we are in the world of AI, we can use acronym generators. And I would just find out myself, while doing the speech, Ashraf is one of those acronym generators where you can put those things and you will get an acronyms. Like, for example, if you wanted to make dream, determination, resilience, or maybe champions, or those kind of things. So when you listen to those kind of things, you know that, oh, Pushpak said something like that. So we are easy to remember those things. Motivation, determinations, hard works, failures. To create those kind of acronyms, it will really take home as the message. The second thing is that obviously the objective of the speech was the 5 principles. We don't have to weave through those things. You don't require. In my opinion, I've always seen my stories, whenever I do it, less is more. Let me give you an analogy. I'm sure you have eaten samosas actually. If your samosa has been stuffed up with so many ingredients, it started to bulge. That means your samosa is overweight, it's been going expand. That's what its storytelling is all about. If you put a lot of stuff, you're getting cramped, and the kind of pauses was missing in your speech. So maybe look for less is more, trying to weave out those things which is not required. Maybe 2 principles, pick up 2 principles. You don't have to give all those things. And then try to weave your story, thread your story based on that. But other than that, I'd really like your passion, the confidence, the vulnerability, what the guest speaker has said about it was very fulfilling in your speech. And I really like the hand gesture you used about it. Your eye contacts glaring on those visuals were very good. With that, back to you, Toastmaster Rahul.
Thank you for the wonderful evaluation, Toastmaster Manoj. Now, let me move on to my next speaker. That would be Toastmaster Yogita, and our evaluator, that would be Toastmaster Samita. So yeah, let me just spotlight you. Yeah. So a little intro about Toastmaster Samita. Toastmaster Samita believes that change is the only way of life, and her life reflects that. She started a professional journey as a teacher and then chased a dream till she was finally the principal of a school. But dreams changed, and now she is a soft skills trainer for graduating kids. Over the years, her hobbies have changed from batik and cross stitch to reading and traveling. And currently, she's enjoying a third pathway in Toastmasters journey. Over to you, Toastmaster Samita.
Thank you, TMOD Rahul. My target speaker, Yogita. Today we had a session on storytelling. And what a wonderful storyteller you are. You started your speech with a story which got us all hooked. What is the story about? You crafted it extremely well. What I loved about your story is when you asked that question about do we remember when we first started our journey? I am sure every one of us, we went back to that day when we first faced the camera, when we first started speaking, and you brought the memories rushing back. Immediately, that connection was formed. You used the title repeatedly in the story. Whatever the title was, we could see why you justified the title very well. And the third thing that I will say is that you were very confident. You were very, very confident. You used your vocabulary, you used your body language very well. So that is where we could feel your story. We were along with you in this journey of your mentorship that you had from your mentors. The use of language, the way you punched it with beautiful words, that kept us hooked. So overall, it was very interesting, engaging, and effective storytelling. But as in Toastmasters, we need to have some recommendation for you to go up the next notch. The first recommendation obviously will be time. You had a lot of time in your hand and you could make a point or two in your speech. So next time, I will suggest, please once or twice just read out your speech so that you know where you can put in some more material and use the timings that has been given to you. The second point is you have spoken all about how you have got the help from your mentors. But it would have been better if we could know more about your challenges. Every time it doesn't happen that there is one problem and there is a one solution. So definitely you must be having more challenges. You have asked everyone to have a mentor, that was good, but you could have pushed them and encouraged them a little more to become mentors themselves. Overall, your speech was engaging. You communicated the importance of mentorship very well. You were confident. Your body language was very good. A stronger call to action. Timings keep in mind. And I'm waiting to see you more. Over to you, TMOD.
Thank you, Toastmaster Samita.
Thanks for that wonderfully summarized evaluation, Toastmaster Samita. Now let me go on to the next speaker. That would be Toastmaster Venkatesh. And the evaluator would be Toastmaster Jaspreet. Let me just spotlight that. . So, Toastmaster Jaspreet is a posh and POSEO trainer who helps build inclusive workplace. She's also a communication and workplace skills coach. She is a CBSE English faculty who has helped more than 2,000 students ace the board exams. Over to you, Toastmaster Jaspreet.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Rahul. And congratulations, Toastmaster Venkatesh, for completing your project successfully. Now, I loved your audience interaction when Venkatesh, the way you started off with in the beginning, interacting with the audience, you handled it very wonderfully. You put up a question, you reframed the question. You were unable to see, you went on to the gallery mode. That was really very smoothly done, wonderfully done. And the best part was your smile. That smile revealed your confidence, your command over what you were doing while addressing the audience. You were really very, very comfortable. That is what I found. You gave them situations and you explained and all through you were giving situations, small, tiny plots here and there coming up because that was the demand of your project today. Now, yes, the key points for your project were the words and the literary elements, and I could see some very good usage also happening of language. Now, a few things which I would want you to take notice of, Toastmaster Venkatesh. Was there some glitch at your end with the network? All right. So one thing that we always tell the speakers or the role takers is join a bit early and get your AV check done so that the meeting, when it is being recorded, it goes on without any disturbance. Nothing should happen in that particular flow. And another thing, when we are there as a speaker, we should not have that background because your hand movements, they get cut. So you must have seen the other speakers speaking, even the educational speaker was speaking without any background or a blurred background. So that is one very important thing. Now, there is no need to repeat the topic the Toastmaster of the day has already spoken. Your time is ticking away. Just straight away start. And generally, we need to start with a hook. Give something in such a way that the audience is hooked up to what you are going to speak next. Now, your speech was good, but I want you to challenge it a little bit more. Work more on the language aspect of it, the vocabulary. All right, the usage. So when you're using a particular word, find out synonyms so that repetition doesn't happen. And also just go a step higher on the level of difficulty as far as the words are concerned. And try to have a stronger plot than this so that the plot speaks for you. You don't have to speak in detail about emotional intelligence. You could have said, okay, hence proved this and this. So once again, great audience interaction, use of good language, and a very wonderful free-flowing style, Venkatesh. I'm looking forward to more power-packed speeches coming up our way from your end. Thank you, and over to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Once again, thanks for that wonderfully summarized evaluation, Toastmaster Jaspreet. Before I go on to the next session, I would once again, I would like to apologize that I forgot to introduce an important person of today's meeting. That would be the timer, and that was played by Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi. Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi, an intro about Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi. She carries over 14 years of professional experience in finance and tech consulting projects and has built her career as a project management professional. Apart from work, she works solo traveling and discovering new places. I love that as well. Toastmaster Sree Lakshmi, I would just like to check, are the speakers qualified? Are all the speakers qualified? Are within time?
Yeah, thank you so much for the intro. So in terms of the prepared speeches, we have one disqualification. This is from Yogita.
Okay.
And evaluation, everyone are qualified. Table topics also, everyone are qualified.
All right then. Thanks for your report. And if possible, you could also put it in the chat if you have the file so people can go through it.
We'll do that.
Thank you. With that, I would like to say that I enjoyed today's meeting and I learned a lot. I will definitely take this forward into my next speech. With this, As always, it was a wonderful crowd, and I got to see all your lovely faces and had a wonderful time. I would like to give the stage back to the presiding officer, that would be Toastmaster Jaspreet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Toastmaster Rahul. And a big round of applause for our role takers of today, Rahul, Toastmaster of the Day, and Sri Lakshmi, the timer. Because you guys are the backbone for the meetings to happen smoothly every time, all the role takers. So thank you very much for doing that. And I can see a couple of guests still in the room. So in the meantime, can we launch the polls as well? And I would request to remove everybody else from host and co-host so that all of us can also do the voting. All right. So, Vamsi, are you a guest? Vamsi, if you could unmute and tell us, are you a guest? All right. Probably she's not there. Jaya Raghuvanshi. Jaya, are you there? Can you unmute?
Yeah.
Yes. So, a quick feedback about the meeting.
Very interesting, especially the last speaker, emotional intelligence. I really liked the explanation he had given. So I just want to recollect the speaker's name so I can vote.
All right. It is Venkatesh, Toastmaster Venkatesh.
Very well spoken.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So, all right, Sri Lakshmi, you are a new Toastmaster, I guess. Yes?
Been a month, Jaspreet.
I know, been a month, but still new. So do give me your feedback. How are you enjoying your journey as a Toastmaster? I see you taking a couple of roles every now and then.
That's correct, yeah. So I know it's been a month, so quite new to this Toastmaster family, but still enjoying taking the auxiliary roles at the moment and looking forward to take much more roles in terms of the evaluators or the TTM. But yeah, I mean, with Gabbys, it's every session is unique, a lot of speakers, and looking forward to the speech marathon that's going to happen this Saturday. So that's going to be the first time experience for me. So looking forward for future sessions and have been enjoying all the past, speakers and the table topic sessions that's been going on. It's a wonderful journey till now.
Great to know that. Thank you. And we are also looking forward to having you take up the major roles. I'm sure you're going to do justice with all of that. So thank you very much. And are we ready with the polls, Yogita? The ones that are done, if you could share that.
Yes, I'm sharing.
So yes, once again, all those who have not registered for the speech marathon, please get registered. Now it's hardly any time, just 24 hours left. So please go ahead and register yourself for that. And fine, so our results are there with us. The best speaker for the day is Toastmaster Pushpak. Congratulations, Pushpak. Great, delivering speech after speech. Wonderful.
Thank you.
The best evaluator for the day is Manoj Nair, Toastmaster Manoj Nair. I think he's not in the room now, but Manoj is the best evaluator and the best role player. Who else? Sri Lakshmi, that's you. So congratulations. So the timer's role also is important. That is where we come to know. So congratulations for that, Sri Lakshmi. And yes, so Saturday we have the ISC, the International Speech Contest at the club level. So whether you are registered or not, whether you have qualified or not, even if there are some new ones who've not qualified, request you to be there to see, to get the feel, to listen to all the speakers. That also would be a very great and very enlightening experience. And keep joining the meetings, because the more you join, the more you learn, the more you evolve. So that is what is important about our Toastmasters journey. So with this, I would like to adjourn today's meeting and would look forward to seeing all of you on Saturday, online, offline, whatever way possible. Be there, either delivering the speech as part of the club contest or at least as a member of the audience. So see you there. Until then, have a great day. So I adjourn the meeting with this, and good night, everybody.